I first met David when I was teaching a master class at Actors Anonymous in Bucharest. And it was a 1 week symposium, I guess. And so when I first saw him, confess, I thought, oh, God, just another kid. Um, and so what was interesting, I guess, as time went on during the week, is he began to grow on me. It's like everything he did was so focused and so intense and so serious um, that I suddenly found myself thinking, wow, this kid really has got something, which is interesting. But I think people always ask about teachers, can you tell? And we always say, no, you can't tell, because it's the politically correct thing to say. But boy, you can tell. I, I had the same feeling. At about the same age, I saw Mark Ruffalo in class, and I thought, wow, that kid's got something. And so I went from thinking, ah, what a cute kid, to thinking, ah, that kid's got something. There was a specific moment that really hit me about David. I give an exercise that is not an easy exercise. I give a circumstance, a plot, and I give two actors 4 lines of dialogue that is very obscure dialogue that has nothing to do with the plot. The idea here for acting is that it's what's behind the words that makes a difference in a play and not just the words. And so I gave him a very, very difficult, specific plot and 4 obscure lines of dialogue. The dialogue had to do with you know, one person has a couple of apples and asks the other person if they want one. What interested me the most about David was that he did not shy away from the circumstance that I gave him. And again, it was a very difficult circumstance to play. And he didn't shy away from it. He didn't make it cutesy. Or the situation was that a kid is telling his father that he's gay. But the dialogue was about, do you want an apple? And I thought it was really interesting how brave he was to go there. And it's always been something that I thought was important. People ask me why I like Meryl Streep so much, and I said it's because she's willing to go there. I'm not even sure where there is, but it's just to let somebody in and see what's going on, and I think that's what makes for really interesting acting. And I was really amazed that David did it. I'm not even sure but what I was testing him to see whether or not he'd do it. As to how he approaches storytelling and performance differently than other actors his age, or other artists his age, I guess I should say, there is a tendency for not just young people, but for all actors to approach every story as if, I don't know, it is the cliche they've known forever. It's almost like you can sit back and go, oh, right, that again. Oh, right, that again. And I find it with all actors everywhere. Nobody really digs and says, okay, my first choice is going to be a cliche. Let me get rid of that one. I'll get rid of that cliche and now do some real work. David went to the real work right away. And I just thought it was so interesting. It was like the cliche did not even occur to him. And that's remarkable to me. I find screenplays, I find actors, I mean, it's like you can just roll your eyes when you think to yourself, ugh, that plot again, ugh, that choice again. Um, but the real ability to dig in, to find the really talented, gifted choices, is seriously, it's what makes the difference between a really extraordinary artist and a hack.